Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my house. It's been a tremendous success. So thank you very much for all the feedback, which encouraged me to do another talk, if you want. Today I've selected a few objects from my collection that are about finding solace in something different than art. In the previous talk on Monday, I saw how people can hark back to art and find solace in that, like Rembrandt did. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it's okay with me, but the majority of the people actually in the world get consolation from religion when it comes to consolation in really difficult times like these. I have a few objects that are related to that. I'm gonna start first with a quite quirky object from the 18th century, which is this. You might recognize it if you're from Southern Europe or have been there a lot, because churches and shrines are full of it. We call it votives. And this is one. So imagine it's a small sheet of silver that is made to resemble eyes in this case, but you could do it of everything. I've seen chapels hung full with big boobs or large penises because that's, that wishful thinking that the prayers had. But most of them have to do with either diseases or plagues or the wish to, in this case, see again. So one would hang one of these votive images made of silver or other precious metals in a chapel devoted to the Virgin Mary. Virgin Mary. One would pray, and when the wish came true or someone got better, a votive image was inscribed with a little thank you note to the Virgin Mary in this case. Maternal mothers are always really important in art history in times of need and dire circumstances. You can still get these in Southern Europe because, the chapels were cleared out of it and the silver was melted down, and they're really, really lovely and really quirky because this is really what folk art is. These are made in the thousands to sell on markets, and people could use them to hang in the place of worship devoted to the Mother Virgin Mary. So they're really lovely, and in this case mine had success because, you don't see it really well, but on the back there's actually a little text inscribed by the person who sent this to the church to thank the Virgin Mary so she can see again. This is the 18th century, and it still happens, and it's a lovely folkish way to communicate with the mother deities. With the mother deities. But many thousands of years ago, it wasn't much different than now or then. We're going back now 25,000 years. Imagine 25,000 years. And in that period, the people living in, the whole of Europe, actually, you find these statuettes from the south of France to Siberia, actually, had mother goddesses as well. You see one example, actually, here behind me. These are the kind of statues you would expect when you're thinking about the Paleolithic Age or the Ice Age. But 25,000 years ago, in France, in the south of France, something really special happened. Normally, these mother figures, these fertility figures that are about, the mother goddess looking over the community, they're not really recognizable as someone else. But somewhere in the south of France, one of these artists thought differently and made a masterpiece that is now known as the Venus of Brassempouy. Brassempouy is a little village in the south of France. The original, of course, is there, highly secured in a museum, but I have a resin cast of it, and here it comes. It's a beautiful carved mammoth image of a woman. This is one of the first representations of an actual person in art history. Imagine that. So you see beautifully how the eyes are done. The eyes are just a little shade. The eyes are actually not chiseled in. They form the shade. So it's really modern. Some people thought it was a total forgery when it was found in the 19th century. It has no mouth, and it has this really, really intricate beading pattern on the head, which is probably maybe a wig made of shells or some kind of braided subject or whatsoever. But this was a little token that probably had some connection with health, maternity, like we are now. Some people are praying 60,000 people at a time to get corona away, which is yeah, well, it's a big heads up for Darwin. Most of them will probably die. But 25,000 years ago, someone spent time making this. And that is for me what civilization is. The person making these little sculptures took hours and hours and maybe days to intricately carve this from a mammoth tusk with a little piece of stone and then engraving it. So that person was useless. No one could use them for mammoth hunting or keeping the fire awake or impregnating women or whatever you needed to do in the Ice Age. No, he was given time to make this beautiful artwork. He was fed, he was taken care of, and he was part of the community, and people took care of him to make this beautiful, totally irrational, but essential object for that community. So that's the message. It's a bit sentimental maybe, but that's the message for the talk of today. Please cherish and take care of the people that might not make things that seem useful in the first place, but are essential to keep our way of living alive. And I mean, it's like Winston Churchill said when during the Second World War, the Parliament proposed to cut back on culture. He said, if we cut back on culture, then where are we fighting for? So, thank you very much. Cheerio, I'm still without pants, so I'll put those on. I hope you liked it again, and please say if you want another talk in the near future. Ciao, ciao.